cheer for your Sydney Swans.
Welcome back to A Bevy of Bloods, a fan podcast of the Sydney Swans Football Club.
So to all you loyal Swans out there, you just can't get enough of the red and the white.
Fluff up your tail feathers and settle in for a potentially biased yarn about all things to do with our beloved Bloods.
G'day there, Cygnets and Swanlings. Welcome back to A Bevy of Bloods. You're joined as always by the boys from Sydney. I'm Chris. We have Sammy, but this one is Noddy.
That's right, you languishing loyal Swans fans. Tonight we're going to be going through the absolute shellacking at the hands of Port Adelaide last Saturday night. But before then, remember, if you enjoy what you hear, make sure to give us a like and a follow. All right, let's kick things off with a quick game recap.
This one's not going to be fun. Last Saturday, in front of 37,000 fans at the Adelaide Oval, our Sydney Swans were defeated by the Port Power by 112 points with a final score of 5-6-36. Is that the whole game? 36? Oh, God. 5-6-36 to 22-16. Oh, my goodness.
Don't adjust your headsets. Don't adjust your TV screens.
Jesus.
That's the score.
All right, Sammy, mate. Okay, so this week we've got three of us. We know how important this game is to the emotions of all the Swans fans out there in the world. So we have me, Noddy, and of course, Swan superfan Sam. Sammy, first impressions, over to you, mate. I know how you feel about this. Your reel was fantastic. A lot of people took a lot from that. Talk to us.
This is crisis talks. That's why we're all here. Yeah, look, it was the worst game I've seen. I calculated as well. I've been to over 200 games live since 2011. This is the worst of the 200. Maybe on par with the 2022 grand final, but like effort-wise, the worst. So yeah,
3 points to you for 200 games live.
Yeah, exactly.
Just quickly. Sorry, mate. Keep going.
It's more not trying to pump up my tires here. More the point that was fucked. The Port crowd were ruthless. Like they were like stand on the Swans' throats. Like they were any call that went against them, they were booing. Like they were loving it. Like they just loved seeing us get torn to bits. So. Yeah, it was so weird. And you know what was weird as well? There was this Swans fan sitting near me. Whenever we scored, he started screaming like abuse at the Swans. And I turned around, it was the Swans fan every time. Like he was way worse than all the Port fans in terms of like individual ferocity.
We all deal with grief differently, and he was clearly just not handling it.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my thoughts. Is it's horrible.
Well,
I don't want to see Francis on the team ever.
Well, that's the least of our concern right now, mate. But yeah, I don't disagree with you. But mate, Noddy, you started off last week talking about how the players need to get themselves out of a funk because at the time we were only worried about the first quarter. Now,
mate.
Talk to the fans. Help them out through this crisis. We're in this together.
It's almost like it's a public service announcement at this point. Last week it was for the players. This week it's for the players and for the fans. You know, I think we were sticking by them. And we, of course, we'll still stick by them after this, but it's soul-searching type stuff, this loss, and you're reaching deep within yourself to go, how do I feel about this? How do I react? Clearly that fan that Sam just cited was struggling in the moment, and I can fully understand that on a psychological level. But the idea, I Googled, how do you break out of a funk last week, just to recap, and it was all this, self-help type stuff like eat chocolate, have sex, meditate, hug a dog, jerk off a camel. I don't like whatever it was, right? So at this point, I'm saying, Swans fans, dig deep. Obviously, we're hurting. Obviously, the players are hurting. There's records, all sorts of records broken in this game, and I'm talking bad records. And so we're all like mad scrambling to find these records. But like, really, you don't want to be looking them up. It's just like the worst loss since whatever, the worst loss under Longmire. It's just bad. It's all terrible. So, look, how do you break out of a funk? I don't know. I gave some suggestions last week, and then we dished up that. So I'll throw over to you, Chris. Though, what do you like? And Sam, what the bloody hell do? I mean, I know we can talk. We're going to talk about the game, but like, what the actual fuck?
I don't know how. Like, that game was probably the most depressed I'd been during a game ever. Like. And I know we've had a couple of some grand finals recently of modern times that were just that is sad to see, and it sucks. But for some reason, that just really hurt, really, really hurt. And it's just not that. It was just the players weren't there. It felt like from the second the game started, the contest, the pressure, the effort, the structure, every part that makes up an AFL side disappeared. And the second the ball bounced, and we watched this happen. And unfortunately, Sammy was there live to watch it happen. Spent a lot of money to get over there to watch it happen. Probably had a good time afterwards. But you tell us, Sam, how that happened. But it just was awful. And I know pretty much the entire Swans community is melting down. And we're here with you. But we know the players are, as Noddy said, we know the players are. We know the whole club is hurting. So hurt together, work through it. Sammy, did you have a good time after the game? Can I throw it over to you for that at least?
Firstly, I'm going to say in terms of the the getting out of the funk, let's not touch any camels. But
I mean, it can't help. But if you haven't been doing it to date, it can't help after this one.
Yeah, where's your
Think outside
suggestion,
the box.
Sammy? Yeah.
Certainly. No, afterwards it was pretty dark. I think even on the Sunday I was still like soul searching. Well, I'm still soul searching now, but I feel like even the Sunday I didn't really want to talk to people. It was pretty tough. So yeah.
The chat was pretty quiet, I have to say. I was doing my typical meltdown reaction mode, tinkering with the team, and I must have sent 50 or so text messages and no one responded. Everyone was just like, fuck off, Noddy, we need some time to process
I can't
this.
believe Noddy's messaging me about the game.
Steve and I sent a couple of messages in all fairness. Like I think we responded a little bit, but yeah,
Steve-o.
probably on the ratio of like 1 to 12.5 each.
I'm going back to that big section that I sent. Oh, look, guys. Obviously, Chris, you just touched on it. We got smashed in the contest. Our pressure where's our pressure? What has happened? What is going on? Is it all, questioning without notice, is it all this chat, bloody Kingy and all, they're saying we're all too worried about individual accolades, personal accolades. Do you guys buy into that? I mean, we've got to find a reason for something, because Swans fans, we're not used to being smashed like this. We'll have our losses, but we'll still compete, and we just seem so far off it in this game. And so, do you think there's any truth to that sort of media line that some of our players just got a little too big for their own shoes or something?
I don't think so. I think the only person you could maybe put that down to would be Heaney, and like losing a momentum just from a ridiculous call that was unjust that went against him. And you could argue that maybe that has unconsciously demotivated him. However, why would Errol and Chad and Blakey and Grundy drop off for an All-Australian position? Like, it doesn't make sense. And like it's not that they're like, I don't think they're playing individual selfish games. I think there's times where, like Chad probably maybe needs to do the simple stuff better and not take the game on as much. But I don't think that, I don't buy into that at all. I buy into the fact that we've got a lot of problems, but I don't think that that's one of them, unless maybe with Heaney subconsciously, but I wouldn't say that's conscious effort.
Yeah, I'd agree entirely with Sammy there. I agree with that. Horse even mentioned in the presser, like this happened today, he said that he's given the team a couple of days away to recover physically and mentally. And I think this is the first time I've heard Horse mention that for some time. So it's real. And he even went back and he referenced it was a 0-6 losses starting of the season. He mentioned the the 2022 grand final, amongst all of that. So he's genuinely put this loss on a pedestal of the damage that he could do to his team if he doesn't address it properly, which is giving him some time away to just recover from both the physical and the mental aspects of it, which is really concerning. Good in the form that at least it's being acknowledged that of what damage you can do, but really concerning that we're having to go down his path. So yeah, it's too big. Like as Noddy said, we can go down all the numbers and we can bring about 1,000 stats if you want to. You go out there, but effectively it was the worst loss we've had in over 30 years.
Yeah.
So it is, and when it was 13-1, and I think you noted this, Noddy, we were 13-1, and now we're 14-6. What in good names is this drop off? It's superb.
Well, it is the contest, the pressure, the ground ball. So that's it. So over the last 5 or 6 games, we're 17th in the league for contested possession differential, 18th for ground ball difference, 18th for clearance differential, and 15th for pressure rating.
How is that the team coming first?
So this is what we've been talking about, like heavier training loads, people getting ahead of themselves, like how and Horse is like, shaking his hands. He doesn't really, like, you've just got to compete. But we're not on the field. The players are. And so are they physically tired? There's some sort of mental stuff going on, funk, right? Mm-hmm. But like it's scary to me to think how do you break out of this with only 3 games to go and then a week off before finals? Look, I don't know. How quickly can you turn it around? Like clearly, I think it was the Lions, they were 1-6 or 0-6 or whatever they were. And then what are they now? 12 wins in a row or something? Mm-hmm. Like that's definitely the form line I would prefer going into the finals, right? There's also all these other stats, like no team has won the premiership with like a losing record going into with a month or whatever it is, right? I'm sick of there's so many. This is like the loss that the media was waiting for the Swans to have, right? I mean, the Dogs was bad enough, but this is the one where they all just go, ha ha, sucked in Sydney, Lee Montagna, Exhibit A.
How many? We went from 136.9, so I'm going to round it up, 130% down to 126.
The Lions are like 5% away, right?
We went down 13.8% in a game. That is unbelievable. Whatever is going on between the brain, the eyes of these kids, like that game was shocking. And this potty is typically we're pretty like we always see the sunniest side of things. We really, really do. I think we're always trying to find the optimism in everything. And we will no doubt find optimism in this, and we're trying to find a lot of it in humor. But this one hurt. This one actively really hurt.
I mean, Sammy, okay, first quarter, 7 got. This was officially our worst first quarter. So the trend of bad first quarters continues. And the worst one happened. Like, was it just how was it at the game? There was too much space between the players. Like, obviously, they had a few calls went their way. It's like happens in every game. But what do you reckon?
The Oz kickers could have come out and done more. Like, honestly, there was nothing. Like, it was listless. There was no. I think we kicked the ball inside 50 like 4 times or 5 times. But we didn't actually have a possession inside 50. We kicked it straight to Port defenders. In saying that, the entries weren't good. There was no positives at all. Like the Dogs' first quarter was pretty bad. At least we kicked it behind. I can't believe I'm saying that. At least we kicked it behind. But I feel like we were at least getting it inside 50 against the Dogs. Not to say that we did not get absolutely dominated, but we got it in there a little bit, a couple of times. This game, it was like getting it to the halfway line felt like an inside 50.
You know, and like inside 3 times in the first half. I feel like it was it was a few touches inside 50 in the first half. I'd agree with you. It could be 3 touches. But we got it in there a few times. But it was long bombs into pretty much Port defenders.
It was crazy, and there was just nothing. There was nothing going on.
7 goals in the first quarter. Was that 6 in the second, 4 in the third, and what's that? 5 in the fourth. And we had 1 goal, 2 goals, nothing. 1, 2, 2. It's really not how we want to be playing at this point of the year.
No. This is not the momentum you want to carry into finals.
I think it's the time we want to play this any time of the year. In all fairness,
anytime. That's a good point, Sammy. Exactly.
Well, I'd rather dish this up in round 1,
100%,
0, or whatever bloody hell we call it.
Round 20. Yeah. Round 0 would have been better because it doesn't quite exist, so that would have been cool. How do we do the Bob medal, guys? Because how do we even do it? So like we normally give out 3 points, like 3, 2, and 1. We were laughing about this earlier, and the 3 people that we felt we wanted to give the points to, that we wrote down, mind you, there was a couple of drinks and a bit of lack of humility, but 3 points went to Dean Towers somehow. I don't know who wrote that down.
That was me. I thought he could have done better.
He probably would have done. Roll that dice. 2 points to Aaliyah, who had a decent game. It was his 150th with his beautiful little child there. And 1 point to Corey Warner for doing the least amount of damage for being taken off. That is some pretty dark situation.
I mean, the whole Parker sub thing still is fucking with my head. But anyway,
I hate that. I hate that
ridiculous,
so much.
right? But in all seriousness, I think Robbo and Errol have been our best players over the last month. That's fair enough, right?
I think Luke Parker, he came on and he was getting the ball out of the middle. Were they great clearances? Probably not, but he was getting it forward at least. Like when he came on, he was having a crack. Rowie was having a crack.
Rowie was good. I made the comment that it looked like it was a bit of a time capsule. That Rowie was dishing up fairly decent effort and tackle pressure. He's been out for a couple of weeks, right? And so this was 2 weeks ago. We beat the Roos by 79 points. But I think maybe he got injured in the Brisbane game or the Roos game. I can't remember. But yeah, he's just been away for the Dogs and came back for this game. But he was at least tackling. He was pressuring, and then everyone else just looked like they weren't.
They were waiting.
They were waiting.
They were waiting for cheap ball. There was one guy doing the grunt work, and that was Rowie. He was throwing his head over it. It was a moment there where we took like 3 or 4 tackles, or like 3 tackles in a pressure act, like to just get the ball slowed up a little bit. And on the side there, you've got the other guys. You had Heaney and Warner. I'm sorry to throw them on the bus, but this is what I saw. They were just sitting there waiting for a ball to be dished out to them. There's no one there, guys. Go get the ball. And Port just walked out of that whole contest, 3 of them in the line, like it looked like a rugby line, a rugby league line, one after the other, and just moseyed on up forward, and then just kicked an easy inside 50. It was just really disappointing. So yeah, Rowie, if you're going to give anyone points, Rowie has to get 3. Like that's it. I can't see anyone else deserving of that.
Fair enough. Yeah. I think as well, like one thing to note, Chad had 7 tackles in the first quarter, but then from there he had 1 tackle in the second, and then no tackles for the rest of the game.
It looked to me he switched off. Personally.
I don't even know how they make those stats though, mate. It's tackle is just like a stop in play, right? Like so many people have broken his tackles in the last month. Like I'm not shitting on Chad because he's one of my favorite players. I know he's your favorite player, Sammy. But now this is the other question. David King, he slammed us. There's all this talk of obviously he's contracted through to the end of 2025, but there's all this contract chat. Has something happened? Has he unofficially accepted going to Freo? Is this destabilized the group? Like I just can't. I don't know how he's dropped off unless he's like injured or he really is in like a deep, dark funk. But like it's a different person we're watching, right?
Last couple of weeks, I'd say so, yeah.
I think there's a big confidence drop from the group, in all fairness. Like I want to pull out some plays that I thought were just either uncharacteristic or horrible or however you want to put them. But one was when we had the ball in the middle and it ended up with Chad, but I think it went through Heaney, it went through Errol, maybe Millsy, maybe Rowie, and they're all maybe Luke Parker. I can't remember exactly who was there. They're just handballing it to each other, and it got to Chad, and he stood there for 2 seconds and got tackled holding the ball in the middle when we had the chance to clear it. That's one There was one where Logan marked it and had it, or it could have been a free kick because Logan didn't mark much, but he might have marked it. I'm pretty sure he did. Outside 50, and he kicked it out to Wilbur, and he missed Wilbur. It almost went out for a throw-in, bounced back in for Wilbur. But there's an example there. Matty Roberts, when he was taking a kick out, he went to the left back pocket, barely 15 metres away, no better position. We're like 70 or 80 or 100 points, no, probably 90 points down at this stage, and he kicks it to the back pocket when there's a 3-on-2 out to the right-hand side. So even last week, Amadi, when he was really good tackle pressure against the Bulldogs, but when he got the ball from there, he just looked back and looked to the side every time to try and, maybe kick it inboard, but looking back, no, definitely not. And sometimes he tried to pull off the inboard kick, and it didn't work. So I think there's a big confidence issue, and I think it's because our game plan has been completely figured out.
This is the next talking point, game plan. So everyone, and I think it's Lee Montagnier again, he loves saying this, or if it wasn't him, it was one of the other guys. It's a fan favourite. It's a buzzword on the socials. Sydney's got no plan B. Where's your plan B, horse? You got nothing. Right, okay. I will, to a degree, acknowledge that obviously the teams are cutting off our corridor kick. And Sammy, you've cited very recent and accurate examples there. But if we can't do that, we obviously can't bomb long, or can we? Like, okay, what's the plan? What's an ideal plan B, and how do we get there? Can we do it, and how do we get there?
There's no plan B. There's no need for a plan B when you're being shut off before the ball even hits the ground. Like, you need to get your hands on the ball first. I don't care what you do. That midfield has to get hands on the ball. Then you can consider a plan B. You can consider how you move the ball. Are you going to keep it contested? Are you going to lock it down? Are you going to put pressure on their certain portions of the play? You're going to spread it wide. Whatever you want to do with the ball, that's fine. But you have to get your hands on the ball. They didn't get their hands on the ball this week. There was no need for a plan B. There was no plan A.
So, Chris, your plan A, B, and C is pressure, pressure, pressure.
My plan, no, the plan is only can be enacted when you get hands on the ball. When you can put pressure on. There's no
the hands plan.
The hands plan. You cannot do anything with the footy if you don't have your hands on it, and that means you have to find a way to structure to get that ball in your hands. You have to figure that out. The pressure, you can say what we want to say about applying pressure, whatever. But just even when the team had an opportunity to lock down a tackle, the tackle was missed. When they had an opportunity to man up, they didn't man up. When they had the opportunity to, double tag, a double team on a high ball going into the back line, they didn't. Like, there was no opportunity for us to do anything with it. There was just an absolute funk of a thing. This wasn't a failure of executing a plan. This was just a failure of playing AFL football. This is genuinely what I think.
I've got one for both of you. Yeah. Have you guys seen that bloody code footy? And I hate that because there's always a paywall. It's like, why do people put that up? But anyway, have you seen that article that's about Brandon Jack writing on the pub napkin?
So many times, but I've never read the article.
Well, that's paywall, mate. Paywall.
That's what you get. That's what you get. Code football.
It looks like a little Pokemon ball, but yeah, look, I mean, is there any truth to that? Has Brandon Jack's pub napkin undone the Swans? I mean, you would think not, right? But like, this is how deep we're reaching. It's like, what has happened?
I don't think Brandon Jack is like the tactical magician that we suspect he might be.
Woodard Smith, yes. Tactical genius, no.
Yes, maybe.
Well, I would hate that because he's Brizzer, he's little Kizzer, like, so yeah, I would hate that, but I did when I saw that I was like, why would he post that? Like, why wouldn't he wait till the end of the season to post that?
It's bloody napkin gate, mate. It's napkin gate.
Legit.
It's someone has leaked it. He's done it on the piss. It's like he's done it to a relative of another Swans player. They're just having a bit of it, and someone's stolen it. The bar staff, who's a Hawks fan, has stolen it, or Dogs fan probably. He's a fucking Dogs fan, right? He's just gone, this is going to bring the Swans undone. Yeah, it was Bontempelli's third cousin. That's who it was.
He's Italian, isn't he? He's got a lot of cousins.
Well,
Barkas Montempelli.
Marcus Montempelli, yeah, he's got a shaved head and a big moustache.
But back to what you were saying before about the game plan, though. I think that you're 100% right that we do need to have more pressure and we do need to get our hands on the ball, win it. I think we need to go... I remember the game where we played Freo over in Freo back in 2022, I think it was. And we played this slow build-up brand of football against them and controlled the game. I don't know why we can't swap to that from time to time. And obviously we're getting so much pressure applied to us because it works. And we're fumbling it. But like having that effort just to do the sort of hit-ups, those short little hit-ups to move the ball forward that way, because long down the line to Logan, Amadi and McLean, who are just not able to consistently mark the footy, let alone take contested marks, is not they're not mature enough as key forwards. I've got nothing against them at all, but it's just maybe it's they're not big enough or they haven't had enough exposure, but that's not the game plan, and clearly teams are clogging up the corridor. So we need to find another way to move the ball when we do get our hands on it, because as much as it is about getting our hands on it and applying that pressure, that like we've still lost 5 out of 6 games, and and as we spoke about on the phone after the game, that was the worst thing that could happen to us, losing those 3 games by close margins. But we couldn't have been playing this badly, like, to do that. So
this was phenomenal, yeah.
So what was it, Chris? You sent something there. It was in the last 5 rounds. We are just on scores. If they redid the ladder, we would be third last.
We'd be third last just on what's happened on the ladder. Amongst the competition. Look, to Sammy, to your point there, like, even if I'm with you, like that is something we could do. I remember we changed it for this. There was a Freo game that we did it as well. We changed that tactic.
That was what I was talking about. Yeah.
Oh, was it? Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we could do, even if we do that, I was looking at that, I'm like, maybe we come out and we kind of play that contested game, with the uncontested game, we try to slow up the ball. But even then, when we tried to a couple of moments, firstly, we couldn't get our hands on the ball to take the fucking mark to slow up. But then once it happened...
Logan took a mark. He fucking took that mark.
I could took,
and Elite came up.
He took that mark.
He took that one mark.
Took it out of
and
his
we
hands.
might have kicked one goal there and maybe we would have...
That's right. And they went back and they scored another one. That's a 12-point... That's it. I'm going to change this. They only won by 100 points now. Take that.
Exactly.
Anyway, no. I think the whole point is, even the guys were not moving. They were not running into the pockets. They were not moving enough for even that whoever it was that had that possession to kick it into. So like there was just a lack of just, dare I say, effort and just helping out their man and just getting an opportunity to have a decent possession and get the ball going. So it was very, very, very disappointing. This is not for everyone. This is very bespoke, but it's something that happened to me, and I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of Swans fans that might appreciate it. I was in a dark time at 3/4, staring at this TV screen, looking at my phone with the bevy chat just going absolutely bonkers, all of us, and I was looking quite clearly, quite demoralized, and I looked over at my beautiful partner Danny. And I looked at her for some support, and she looks at me in the eyes and she said, "Hey, I sent you this really wonderful wallpaper on Reddit. Can you have a look?" And I'm like, "Yeah, thanks, babe." Like, what? Help, Danny! Like, do me some favors here.
My world is falling apart.
Look
at wallpaper.
You want to send me wallpaper?
It's probably what it looked like for the Swans player with the ball as well when none of the team were moving.
Yeah, they were just looking at them. They were like, "Would you like to look at some wallpaper?"
They were looking at wallflowers, mate. No one helped them. They were just like,
nice.
Yeah, wall.
That was a good one, Noddy.
Thank you. Only once before has a team lost by 100 and still gone on to win the flag. 1945.
So you're saying there's precedent that we can win this?
Yes,
Bang.
that's right. We've got to find some positives here. So
right.
It can be done.
Swans fans.
One thing is that no team have ever won in opening round and lost by 100 points. So the opening round comes into this play.
That's a good point. No one's ever gone to round 0 and lost by over 100 points and not gone on to win a premiership.
Exactly.
That's a stat for you. Because opening round zero was a concept we made up this year. We just make up stuff as we go. It's not a problem.
All right, so guys, what do we do? Like, what's the plan from here?
Oh, I thought you were going to say what do we do for 3, 2, 1 because we haven't gotten 2 and 1 yet, mate.
Oh, didn't we? Didn't we say
we
Aaliyah
only did
and-
Rowie.
Oh,
we
really?
we did Dean Towers, Aaliyah, and Corey Warner, but that's not actually what we're going to put down.
Oh, right. Rowie, Errol, Robbo,
All right, I'm
something
writing it
like
down.
that.
I'm not going to fight anyone.
Look,
Sam,
Errol,
mate,
Errol tries. Errol's
Errol ran around. I can vouch for that being at the
Yeah.
game. He ran.
He's obviously trying. He was like last line of defense several times. Two-way running. You can't fault him. It's just we're just too far away from them in the contest. There's
every
you can't
time.
get hands on. It's crazy. It's like, have they forgotten? I was talking to Jen. I don't know if I told you guys this. We texted after the game. It was a flurry, and we were both just like, we've got to send rockets. I'm probably not accurately, but that was definitely what my point was. But she seemed to be backing me up in my beer-fueled rage. But it's like at this point, after the biggest loss record, whatever it is, worst under Longmire, there's two ways you can go, I think. And I'm sort of leaning towards the talking about next week, right? But we can come back to talk about the game if we want to talk about it. But the idea is you hold true with your theoretical on paper best team. And this is Steve-O's point. He's like, don't let any of those fuckers hide in the reserves this week. Or you send rockets up 4 or 5 players who are just too comfortable with their own position, and you hope that the guys coming in can get the job done. And that's really what you're staring at. And I think that Longmire personally is going to go with bring in our fittest players and hope that we can recapture pressure and our style of footy, because that next wave of depth really is, well, we saw what Francis and Laddams and there's not that many other depth players. There's Hamling, and then really it's a big drop off in the midfield, right? Because we've got a lot of injuries still. It's like Mitchell, Sheldrick, Cleary, Corey Warner. These are all like guys who have got 15 games or less, and we're talking like single digits for most of those guys. So
does the Gus bus come in?
Well, I mean,
Rowie was injured
Sorry,
at the end.
Sorry, mate. I jumped in for your point there. Sorry.
I did hear that Rowie got injured, but was he listed as injured? Is he? Because he hasn't
I'm
been.
not sure.
I checked the injured list and he wasn't
online.
listed.
No?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, but he was limping around. I think he finished the game on the bench. Not sure for how long, but so if Rowie was out, then Gus would come in for sure.
Well, I mean, there's Corey Warner. Is Mills fit? Parker's the sub. I mean, there's just so
Parker
many.
can't be sub.
Oh my
Can't
God.
be sub. Cannot be sub.
Being a sub.
Like it doesn't make sense. I think as much as I thought he was trying to lead, Millsy was not there. Parker came on, had 3 centre clearances. Just by the way, I want to see how many centre clearances we had. It says we had 11.
Look,
Don't
we
know
only
where that
really
comes
got
from.
beaten in inside 50s and contested possessions and the scoreboard. We
And
only just got
uncontested.
smashed off the park, guys. We were
Yeah.
definitely not ever in the game. But look,
I
there's so
remember
many iterations.
Sammy's halftime report. Sorry, not just one quick one. Sammy's halftime report when I think you messaged us to be like, "Hey, can you just throw up the stat lines?" And I just looked at the stat lines, and we literally were losing every one of them, with the exception of I think hit outs by like
And
one
tackles.
and tackles. And I'm like, of course we're losing tackles. We haven't touched the ball. They can't tackle air. So like, it was just the saddest bunch of stat lines I've ever seen in my life.
It's like when you've got a broken leg and you're in shock, and your friend's there, and you say to your friend, "How bad is it?" And they're like, "Just don't look.
Yeah, exactly. Don't look, mate.
Don't look. It's really fucking bad."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But okay, so we're going back to the idea of, do you hold your theoretical best team with probably, hopefully, Rampy, Melican, and Amadi at least coming back in to provide some of that structure, or do you go, Chad, I don't know what's going on, have a week off? Jordan, you've been a bit flat. You haven't really done much since we've taken the tag roll away. That's I'm being unfair. I'm being critical.
You're being very critical. That's fine. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. But then these are all things that I'm sure Swans fans are. A lot of people are saying Francis immediately out. Look, to his credit, he looked a little bit better in the forward line, don't you think?
He looked great.
Well, it was hard. It was hard not to. He kicked
When you give up six goals
kicked
or
on him in the first quarter.
Yeah.
So,
But Laddams just couldn't catch the ball. I don't know what was going on there. Is his hair too long? Is he got too much of a designer mullet or something? What's going on there?
It's a pretty good mullet though. Like I was really looking forward to him having a screamer because I'm just like, if the good lad comes out with a mullet and then has a banger of a game, I'm gonna be so happy. And nah. Oh well, the whole team didn't do well, to be fair. But
Pistol Pete with some pretty hair there. But
what a Pistol Pete! Yeah.
First game back in the cauldron though. Like, could you theoretically give him another game? Obviously, Grundy's XX team, the Pies. Does Grundy get a rest now? They were talking about it. We don't know when it's coming. Obviously, they've got a few tools, but not really too many tools to go. He's out. Okay, guys. So just going back, the question is. Do you A, keep the best structure with some of these fit guys coming back, Melican, Rampy and Marty, or B, do you send rockets up a couple of players and hope some of our depth players can get the job done?
So clearly we need to make a couple of changes. Francis needs to come out for anyone. Ideally Rampy or Melican, but if not, Hamling, Edwards, Dean Towers, anyone, doesn't matter. But outside of that, I feel like Amadi needs to come back in for Laddams if he's fit. I really don't understand why he didn't get managed earlier. I really didn't like the late change move. It should have just been out there from the start. Laddams might have had a bit more confidence to mark the ball, but I can't see that. I think Jordan, if he's not tagging, it's really not looking good for him. But I think, given Nick Dacos has shown, the ability to be tagged, we need to give him that roll back and say, shut Nick Dacos down.
Agree.
So, especially with the goalie out as well. So, there's, I think that we need to bring our best players back, but it's hard to pick on anyone to say who to drop. Like, I feel like it'd be kind of rough to drop even Corey Warner. Like, he wasn't playing any worse than anyone else necessarily. Like, he was just kind of first man in, last man out almost.
I think Corey Warner's been playing better than Chad Warner over the last 2 weeks. I do. But
3 weeks probably.
3. It's hard with all these subs, the half games. But I'm not. I mean, it's a very big call to say give Chad a rest. I know. But
I think,
do you do it now so he's ready for the finals?
I think where you come. This is where we're up to the end of the season. If you take each part of the season where we are right now, there is a pass mark going forward, right? So this is what we've done this season. We don't just sit on our hands and go like, oh, we did 13-1, what a fantastic season. You don't look at it like that, right? We have to finish this all off. We've got a final season ahead of us, so we have to find a way to pull these guys back into form. So I think we have to play them. I think we have to play the players that are fit, the players that we expect to be playing finals. We have to play them in the form, and we can manage them like we do with Marty. I know it sucks, but we've got to manage. What Horst said there is that Melican was having some hammy issues, and so they just reminded them that, like, you know what, we've been pushing both of these players pretty hard, including Amadi. We better rest him in case this flares up for him. So it's like a preemptive rest. I think they were kind of okay with losing by a little. I just personally think that. But I didn't think that they were going to be smashed by 112 points. Like,
I see what you mean. You
know what I mean? Like, this is what I mean. Like, I think there was they were tactically kind of setting themselves to rest players here and there to get them going. At this point, exactly, you got to do that. You got a game plan. You got to rest them up. He sent the team away to think about it mentally and physically. We know that. He said that a bunch of times in that presser. I think that he's genuinely being like, you guys are here for finals. You have to play yourself in the form. Come back next week and fucking fight. That's what he's going to be asking of.
Is Wixie safe? Has Adams done enough? Because for every good thing Adams does, he does just a kind of annoying, not so good thing.
I think everyone's relatively safe, and I think there's still probably 10 players who you wouldn't be surprised if they did get dropped, and it wouldn't be a shock. but I think that Francis is not safe. I think Laddams is not safe, and because they've got the players to come back in, like I could see Millsy coming out for another managed. If both Rampy and Melican are back, start Parker and put Corey Warner as the sub, or Wicks as the sub, and bring Campbell back in for Corey Warner, something like that. And I think that from there, James Jordan needs to come out next week. I feel like he's got enough credits in the bank to come out next week and do his job on Nick Dacos. And if he can't do that, then he may be susceptible as well. That's my opinion.
Logan McDonald, thrown back, obviously through injury, but he hasn't been affecting. I mean, is he someone that might gain some?
He hasn't been affecting because the ball's not going forward.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, but he hasn't really been marking either, guys. Like, I mean, he hasn't looked bad as a defender, to be honest. He looks like the kind of player that if he had 20 games as a key defender with Tommy McCartan, he'd actually probably be a really nice combo back there. But I think Melican has done enough this year to have that. But what I just find Hamling is the interesting one. We brought in as a key defender, played all year in the VFL, kicking bags and bags and bags of goals as a forward. Sammy Reid kind of comes up in the pecking order, and then his hammy goes again, or whatever it was, and then he retires. Is this the week where Hamlin comes in?
It could be, but it would be. Yeah. It would only really be in defence, though. Like, I get what you're saying. I feel like we've got a very short memory here, because first half against St Kilda, Logan was tearing it up. Yeah, he had an amazing game against North Melbourne. His first half was amazing. Against Freo, he missed that shot, but before that, he kicked a goal under pressure to get us back into the game. He had a quiet game, but he still made an impact late. He's a young key forward who's getting thrown around the ground. He's never played in defence. I've never heard of him playing in defence until the Bulldogs game. So, his form and psycho is down just like everybody else's. I just don't think that he's the scapegoat here. I really don't think that would be fair. If anything, keep Amadi out managed and give him another week off and bring Hamley in for Laddams if that's what you're going to do. But I just don't think it's going to do anything. If we make it deep into finals and Logan McDonald's not playing, it's because he's injured. Yeah, like he's going to be in that team. So why would we take him out? And that's sort of how I feel about Chad too. Why would we take Chad out? As much as he hasn't been in his best form, he still has the potential to be one of our best players.
So this is the concept, and I'm not suggesting we do all this. I'm just posing these questions because I'm sure this has been front of mind for all Swans fans. But like, if this was round 10 and these players had been dishing up for the last month, then it's time to have a stint in the seconds, right?
I'd agree with all of that. Yep.
But given where we are, given there's 3 games left of the home away, given the precariousness, if we lose 3 more games, I mean, there's a lot of ruminations of how the ladder's going to end up. I don't think we'll end lower than 7th if we lose all 3. Obviously, we want to win all 3. If we win 2, I think we stay first or whatever it is. But so it's where we are in the season that is, I think the coaches have no other choice but to keep our best team in. And as Chris and Sam, you're saying, hoping that they play themselves into form. Yep. But, if we lose the next 3 games, we're in an elimination final against maybe Hawks, Carlton, Giants, or Freo, or Cats maybe.
And any one of those teams can be dangerous on the day. Like, we know that. We know where the competition is up to. And we know how we're up and down season as well. So.
I think another thing to note is that I saw something the other day, and I'm not sure how many times you have to do the ladder predictor to work this out, but no team is safe from missing finals this year that's in the 8. All teams, because they said it's the first time ever with 3 rounds to go, that mathematically it is possible, and probably the fact that we lost 15% in that game has cost us in that sense. If we only win 2 games, it's very unlikely we'll finish first from where we are now. So to finish first, we have to win 3. Well, not necessarily, but again, we're playing with fire if not. So
Sam, you got to do the predictor. You got to get amongst it.
No. We just got to win. I don't want to spend time sitting there and looking at what could
No,
happen.
but I think
Let's
what you've
focus
said is it could be wrong. So I think if we win 2, we're first. So that's my point. And the point is, we want to win. We want to win games. We want to be playing ourselves into form, so that we are playing the type of footy we can play, which is the first half of the season. Obviously, teams have worked us out. So, I think it's just about the pressure. We've just got to bring our pressure game back. And I don't know. I mean, I personally think that starts with starting Parker, as we've touched on many times tonight, just for that pressure, in the middle. Him and Rowie, I think, just need to be in there. If hopefully Rowie's not injured.
Old school, tough defender, football, contested, get hands on the ball and then move it from there. I think just starting on that line.
One thing to touch on as well, with the option of B, just for going back a bit, if we did decide to drop the whole team and bring young players in to take their spots, it would do no good to those young players. Imagine being a player wanting to come in and prove a point, and having a team around you that probably don't think that you deserve to be there, but also that they don't see you playing in the finals because you haven't done it yet, and coming into a really negative environment, a toxic environment, it would throw the whole balance out. And odds are they probably wouldn't be able to grow and to be nourished in that environment, to grow and to succeed. It would be setting up for failure. So the only real option is to play players that have experience. And of course we can make changes with the players we have that have that experience, but not make wholesale changes for the sake of it. It wouldn't work.
I agree with all of that.
I think if we win all 3 games and Lions win all 3 games, they finish first and we finish second.
If we win all 3 and they win all 3...
I'll say no. If we win all 3, we finish first. If we win all 3 and they win all 3, we keep the gap that we got now. Yeah. So, but if we lose 1, we finish second.
But it depends on percentage. It depends how much we lose.
No, they win 3, we win 2.
Oh yeah, if they win 3 and we win 2, of course they're going to go up.
Yeah, but to stay in second, if we lose 1 game, then we're with the pack of Port, GWS, Geelong. Freo could jump up a position from there, and Dogs, Carlton could jump up. It's too hard to say what could happen. With that.
It's also really hard to predict who's going to win any game. There's been so many upsets and games where teams have meant to win. I mean, look at us. But anyway, so
I think this wraps up about how we feel. Is there anything you guys want to feel strongly about saying now, or forever hold your peace in the light of another game against the Pies at the SCG this weekend?
Get Francis out of the team.
Okay, Noddy.
A small part of me wants McAndrew to come in and just tag Cox, but I know that's an unrealistic request.
That's an interesting request.
Well, we've seen Cox step up in finals like game. I mean, Collingwood with that 3-point win over the Blues now have everything to play for. Right, they are on they've got to win every game and then hope that results go their way for them to scrape through. So we're again meeting teams that have everything on the line, and the same goes with Bombers the week after. Less so with Adelaide, although things could have been different if they knocked off the Cats. But yeah, look, I don't know. I think I just want to see effort. I just want to see effort, tackle effort. Go with the first decision. Just keep it simple. Don't make it unnecessarily complicated, but fight for each other and work to get the ball and get it forward. Got to give ourselves a shot.
Also, Luke Parker starting. That's another thing.
That's
get
just
out.
One last thing. The AFLW does kick off on the 30th of August. round 1 against the Pies, funnily enough, at North Sydney Oval. If you're an AFLW fan and if you're an AFLW season member, go online now and get your tickets because they will sell out. It will sell out. And that's to you guys, do too, boys, Noddy and Sammy. If you want to get tickets, buy them now because they will sell out. So get them done. If you're a member especially, make sure you get your ticket allocated. And the bevy will kick off the season preview next week. So we'll be recording that next week and it should be out mid next week. So the season starts and we're going to bring in a couple more interviews along the way too. So it should be really, really fun with one new host in Jen. You get to hear all about it. Ex-VFL player and a bit of a club legend for basically any club that she's ever played for, including best and fairest named after her. So, very insightful, awesome stuff. So that's what we've got looking forward to anyway. If this podcast has been down, we've got some positivity in the AFLW anyway. Well, Noddy, Sammy, thank you. I hope you guys feel a little bit better. I don't, but I don't know how you guys feel. See how we go.
I still feel a little sick to the stomach, but but hopefully we'll turn things around. Hopefully that extra day off for the players has worked wonders.
We've got to turn up now.
Yeah,
it's time.
That's it.
That
brings us to the end of the episode. Thanks for listening to the end. It was a tough one for you and for us, I'm sure. But if you did listen all the way through, we do appreciate it. We must be doing something okay. So please go out there, give us a like, give us a follow, say hello, whatever it takes.
And of course, as always, make sure to keep an eye out for more content during the week and on game day itself with Semi at the Halftime Report.
We'll look forward to seeing you guys all at the SCG against the Pies. But until then, up the Bloods and can you Swannies?